In this video, we are going to solve the lead code problem of the day, and the problem is count complete subarrays in an array. The problem category is of medium level, but I would say once you know the trick, once you know the logic behind this problem, this is going to be very easy. The brute force solution for this problem is O of n square time complexity, but I will show you how you can solve it with O of n time complexity. In the problem, the given input is an array of numbers. All the numbers are positive integers. We just need to find out the number of complete subarrays in our array, in our given input array. Now, what are complete subarrays? When the number of distinct elements in the subarray is equal to the number of distinct elements in the whole array, then we can say that that subarray is complete. For example, if this is your given input, then in this whole array, the distinct elements are 1, 2 and 3, right? Our array is made up of 1, 2 and 3. So these three are the distinct elements in the whole array. Any subarray can be called as complete subarray when that subarray has all the distinct elements in it. So in this array, this 3, 1, 2, this particular subarray can be called as a complete subarray, and that's because in this subarray the distinct elements are 1, 2 and 3. In our whole array the distinct elements are 1, 2 and 3. So we can say that this is a complete subarray. This can also be a complete subarray, right? Because the distinct elements are 3, 1 and 2. That's the same in our whole array as well, right? So we just need to find out how many number of complete subarray we have in our given input, right? Now for the given input 1, 3, 1, 2, 2, the complete subarrays are 4. This is the first one, 1, 3, 1, 2. This has the distinct elements as 1, 2 and 3, right? Then we have the second one as 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. The distinct elements are 1, 2 and 3. Then we have the whole array. See, what is a subarray? Any array which is a part of our array. So the whole array can also be called as a subarray. So this whole array is 1, 3, 1, 2, 2 and the distinct elements are 1, 2, 3. That's the same, right? So we can say this whole array is also a complete subarray, and we have 3, 1, 2, 2. This is also a complete subarray because the distinct elements are 1, 2 and 3. So how can we solve this? See, the first approach will be brute force, right? I mean, this is the general approach we can follow for any question, that if you do not worry about the time complexity, if you do not worry about the space complexity, how can you solve it? What's the brute force method to solve it? What we can do is, we can first find the number of distinct elements which we have in our whole array, right? So we can say, if this is our whole array, then the number of distinct elements are 3, right? We have 3 distinct elements, and let us call that number as x. So x is 3 in the given input. Now we can try to create all the subarrays, right? How can we create all the subarrays? If this is our array, we can try to create all the subarrays starting from 1, then starting from 3, then starting from 1, then 2 and then 2. This will look something like 1, then 1, 3, then 1, 3, 1, 1, 3, 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 2, 2. And similarly, starting from 3, it will be 3, 3, 1, 3, 2, 3, 2, 2, right? So you can try to create all the subarrays, and then you can check in each of the subarray that how many number of distinct elements do you have. And if that equals to x, for example, if you create a subarray and the number of distinct elements you found is equal to the x is the number of distinct elements in our whole array. So if that equals to x, if the number of distinct elements in our subarray is equal to x, we are going to count this subarray, and that's because that subarray is a complete subarray. And once we are done with checking for all the subarrays, we can just return the total count. I mean, this is a brute force method, and we can code this as well, and I don't think this will work. This will give you time limit exceeded error. So what we are going to do is, we are going to understand the optimized method for this, which is done using sliding window algorithm. Okay, so we are going to understand this algorithm, and for that what we can do is, we can try to implement the algorithm for the given input 1, 3, 1, 2, 2. Okay, so let us try to optimize the process. What we are doing is, this is our whole array. Our whole array has 5 elements, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the indexes will go from 0, 1, 2, 3 up to 4, right? First of all, we are going to find out how many distinct elements do we have, and that we can do in O of n, that is in a single loop, right? Then we will try to implement the sliding window algorithm with 2-pointer technique. We are going to have 2 pointers, left and right. This left pointer will start from index number 0, and the right pointer will loop from index number 0 to index number 4, that is n minus 1. N is the number of elements we have in our whole array. So we are going to run the right loop, that is the right pointer, from 0 to n minus 1, which is from 0 to 4. Now let us try to understand the process. First of all, what we are going to do is, our indexes are left is 0 and right is at 0. So left and right are pointing to the same element, that is 1. At this point, I will create a data, which is actually a map. In this mapping, we are going to store the element which we are going to see and its count. That is, how many times have I seen this element from left to right. That is from 0 to 0. Okay. So when the value of L is 0, R is 0, we have just seen one element. And at this point, I would say my data will have one key, which is 1. That's this element. And its count. How many times have we seen 1 in this range from 0 to 0? So we have just seen it one time, right? So as of now, my mapping will look like 1 is to 1. How many distinct elements do I have in my whole array? I have 3 distinct elements, right? 1, 2 and 3. How many elements do I have in my data? I just have one element, right? So at this point, I can say that in this range from 0 to 0, I don't have all the elements which I have in my whole array. So this particular subarray is not complete. So what we are going to do is we are going to increase our right pointer. For now, we are fixing this left pointer and increasing our right pointer. Now this is our subarray. Okay, so left is 0, right is 1. This is our subarray, and at this time our data mapping will have 1 one time, 3 one time, right? Because we have seen 1 one time, 3 one time. At this point we just have 2 elements. We have 3 number of distinct elements. It means we have still not seen all the elements in our range, that is from 0 to 1. So at this point of time I will do the same thing. I will increase my right pointer. Okay, so my right pointer will be here and my left pointer will be here, and my subarray is 1 3 1. We need to do the same process. Left is 0, right is 2. These are the indexes, and the data, that is the mapping, will have 1 2 times, 3 1 times, because our array is 1 3 1 in the range 0 to 2. We still have just 2 elements, right? And we have 3 number of distinct elements. So let us do the same process again. This time left is 0, right is at 3, index number 3, and this is our array 1 3 1 2. So we have got a new element 2 in our range. So I would say the left is 0, right is 3. So our data mapping is 1 2 times, 3 1 times, and 2 1 times. And at this time the length of my data is 3, and this is equal to the number of distinct elements in the array, right? So in the whole array the number of distinct elements are 3. In our current subarray, that is from 0 to 3, the number of distinct elements are 3, right? So at this point of time I can say that the array from the range 0 to 3, that is from 1 to 2, is complete. So I'm going to increase my count. Now there is one very important thing which you need to understand here, and that is, see, this is our complete array, right? We got a complete subarray from 0 to 3, index number 0 to index number 3. Now if I try to increase my right pointer here or more depending upon if I have more number of elements in my array, then there is no use. I will tell you why. The current subarray is from 1 to 2. If you create more subarray, it will be from 1 to 2, this one, and then more, and then more. All of them, all of the subarray are going to be complete, because what you are going to do, you are just going to add more elements in your array. And I know that my array or my subarray has this 1, has this 2, and has this 3 as well. So going forward, all are going to be complete subarrays. How many subarrays should I count? Now the n is equal to 5, r is equal to 3, right? The number of complete subarray which we can count is n minus r, that is 5 minus 3, that is equal to 2. We have to got 2 subarrays, and that's because if r is at this point, okay, so if we try to create a subarray from this point to this point, we have got one subarray. I still have one more element left, right? So I can increase my size and I can say I got the second subarray. So the total number of elements are 5, right? But since the indexes start from 0, the last index is 4. So for index number 3, for index number 4, starting from index number 0, all are complete subarrays. So I can say if n is equal to 5, which is here, index number 5, then I can take the difference with r, that is 1 and 2 elements. So I can say n minus r is equal to total number of complete subarrays. Or better, I can say if we got our subarray at this point, then how many total number of elements do I have including this point? So I can say this is index number 3, this is index number 4. Index number 5 will not be there because n is equal to 5 and the indexes start from 0. So if we take the difference from n to the current r, that is the total number of elements we have, which will have the complete subarray starting from index number 0. So I can say n minus r is what we need to add to get the number of complete subarrays. So that is equal to 2. 5 minus 3 is equal to 2. Now at this point, what I can do is, instead of increasing the r and putting it here, I can say let's try to remove the element from the left hand side, because I know that if I start from this point and go till this point, I will have a subarray. And if I just keep increasing my r, all are going to be the complete subarrays. So instead of increasing it, since we have already counted all of them using n minus r formula, I can ignore this element and I can put my L here at index number 1. So L is at index number 1, R is at index number 3. Our elements are 3, 1, 2. At this point of time, I will update my mapping, and what I will do is I will say my mapping was I had 1 2 number of times, 3 1 number of times, and 2 1 number of times. But I removed this first element, which is actually equal to 1. So I need to reduce the count in my mapping. So I will have 1 1 number of time, 3 1 number of time, and 2 1 number of time from range 1 to 3 index. That is, the elements are 3 1 2. At this point also, we have all the elements, or I can say 3 number of elements in our subarray, and in the whole array also we have 3 number of distinct elements. So I can say this is also a complete subarray. Now if this is a complete subarray, then I can say that r is equal to 3, right? Again we can apply the same formula and we can say n minus r, that is equal to 5 minus 3, which is equal to 2. So we got 2 more subarrays. I can say this is a subarray, and I can say starting from the same point I can increase the value of r and get this as a subarray as well. So we have got 2 more subarrays. We already got 2. We got 2 more, so we got 4 number of subarrays. And again, since we have got complete subarray, I can say this is my r. Let's try to move our L again. Let's try to put our L at index number 2 this time, and let us see if I remove this element, can I make a complete subarray? So at this point you will notice that L is 2, R is 3, our array is 1 and 2. From our mapping, we are going to reduce the number of 3 we have, because we just removed a 3. So 3 will be 0 number of times, and the moment any value count is 0, we are going to remove it from our mapping. And once we remove it, the map will have just 2 elements, and if it has 2 elements, this is not a complete subarray. Okay, if it is not a complete subarray, let's try to add one more element and let us see if we can create a subarray. So L is 2, L is still 2, and then R is 4. It means this is our subarray. The mapping will have 2 number of 2 this time, but still we just have 2 elements, 1 and 2. We don't have all the distinct elements in our mapping. So this is also not a complete subarray, and at this point of time we are going to stop because we are at the end of our array. We don't have any more elements to add. And our final answer is going to be 4. We got 4 complete subarrays, right? So this is the complete explanation of this particular problem, guys. Let me show you how you can code this using Python. This is the complete code for this particular problem. We need to create a result variable that will initially be 0, and the data dictionary where we are going to store the mapping or the count of each of the keys. Then the value of n, that is total number of elements in our array. Then left pointer, which is 0, and then number of unique values we have, or the number of distinct value we have. We can just create the set of our numbers and then take the length. Now just run a simple loop for the right index from 0 to n, or better I can say from 0 to n minus 1. This is how the Python loop works. Every time we are going to increase the count of that number which we are going to see at the right index. Once we get this length of data is equal to uniques, that is the moment we get complete subarray, we are going to count it. Result is equal to result plus n minus right. That's the formula we have seen, right? And then we are going to remove an element from the left hand side. So we can say the count of the element at the left index minus equal to 1. So we need to reduce the count, and if the count is 0, delete or remove that element, and then increase the left pointer. We will come back to the while loop and we will see if after removing the leftmost element, do we still have all the elements or not. So till the point we will have, we are going to count it, and the moment we get to know that the number of unique elements in our data is not equal to the number of unique elements in our whole array, we are going to come out of this while loop, and then we are going to increase this right index. So once this loop is completed, you can directly return the value of your result, and that's the complete code for this particular problem. So let me submit this code, and you will notice that this is actually a pretty efficient solution. So yes, you can see runtime complexity is good, the memory complexity or the space complexity is good as well. So yes, that's the complete solution, guys. And that's it for this video as well. And if this video helped you to understand the problem and solve the problem in an easy way, then make sure that you hit that like button. And if you are not subscribed to my channel, then make sure that you subscribe to the channel as well. And I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching this video, guys.